You may be seated. Good morning, Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos. I've been recently doing some family genealogy. I've been trying to essentially figure out where all my neuroses come from. And it's not easy. I'm a first-generation American on my father's side, a second-generation American on my mother's side, and it's not really easy to get information, especially since no one in my family wants to talk about it, which is another issue. If you have time. No. But anyway, so I signed up for a couple of genealogy services. I've been doing a lot of research, and essentially, I'm Ashkenazi. Yeah, I paid for that. I am so Ashkenazic that my zodiac sign is gefilte fish. I'm so Ashkenazic, they told me, don't even bother with the DNA test. It's just chicken soup and stuffed cabbage. You are as Ashkenazic as can be in terms of a family lineage. I have never, though, felt more connected to every part of the Jewish world than I have since October 7th. You know, there have been a lot of divisions between the Jewish people over the years. You know, we talked about between Ashkenazic and Sephardic, with Mizrahi. Even within Ashkenazic, you have Eastern and Western European differences, most notably between what kind of gefilte fish? How many of you are sweet gefilte fish people? How many of you are like the peppery? And how many of you just don't want to talk about it and wish that I would stop mentioning gefilte fish? Right, there are a lot of cultural differences. There are differences in practice. But we're all one people, and every practice, every culture, every custom of each Jewish community belongs to every other Jewish community as well. We have certain basic values, but we have different ways of expressing them. But we are all one people, and I think that that's what others sometimes don't understand about who we are, is that even within our biggest differences on the surface, the neshama, the soul, is the same. And I think that this is important to think about as we head toward Hanukkah this week. And Hanukkah is actually an example of being able to have differences, but still being able to celebrate together. And this is a story that I've shared fairly frequently, even last Friday night. If you've already heard it, you're going to hear it again, but just in more detail than before. But the mitzvah of Hanukkah is, according to the Talmud, it's just one light per house per day total. Right, that's it. It says ner ish uveto. You fulfill the mitzvah with each house lighting one candle period each day. And that's it. That's not how we do it, though. Obviously, we have some families, they have lights for each person in the family, and we go up from one candle up to 8 at the end, and we have the shamas. We have the one that we light with. But the Talmud says you only have to have one per family because light at that time was very expensive. Or you use olive oil, and people normally didn't light extra lights in the evening. It was very, very expensive, and it was a sign of wealth to be able to light more and more. But the Talmud didn't want to separate out those of modest means from those who had more means and make them feel that the others were doing better or that they were fulfilling it and not them. So it kept in a way that it was affordable and it was accessible for everyone. So that's the basic value. But we know that we either count up from 1 to 8, which is our practice now, and that there was another community of Jews where they started with 8 and they counted down to 1. One as the days increased and one as the days diminished. And the Talmud gives a number of reasons on each side of why they do that. But my favorite part of the story is that it was a story of two elders who lived in the town of Sidon. And I'm going to tell you the entire story of the elders of Sidon. They had two different ways of doing it. One did it one way, the other did it the other way. And that's the whole story. I know, riveting, isn't it? Tell us another one. Two people, one did it one way, one did it the other way. That's the story. But the real story is they were still friends. They did things very differently. They had a different approach to things. But each said the way the other did it, even if it's not how I did it, is a good way of doing it. As the Talmud says, Elu ve'elu divrei Elohim chaim, that when people are doing things for good reasons, even if they have differences of opinion, they're both valid. In Judaism, we have unity, but we don't have uniformity. I don't have to do the same thing as you to feel connected to you, and you don't have to do the same thing as I do in order to feel connected to me. They're basic values that we have. Shabbat is a value. Torah says keep Shabbat. It doesn't say how to keep Shabbat. And I can guarantee you every single person here has a different way of thinking about Shabbat. Sometimes it's about family, sometimes it's about some solitude, maybe it's services, maybe it's gefilte fish. But it's Shabbos, right? We have dietary laws, kashrut. The word kosher means fit and appropriate for human consumption. There are a lot of differences of opinion on what's kosher, especially kosher for Passover. It turns out that I am from the only region of the Carpathian Mountains which were actually run by Sephardic Jews. And I found this out by making it up. But I'm vegan, and I eat lentils and chickpeas and rice on Pesach, and it's good. It is really, really good. But that's more of a Sephardic custom. But as I mentioned in the beginning, what belongs to one community belongs to all communities. That we should be able to feel connected to each other in very deep ways. So when we light the lights for Hanukkah, it's okay to debate our differences. It's okay to have discussions about who we are, what we should be doing, what our approaches to philosophy is. But each candle, each light is us all together. Each one of us can be those elders in Sidon, where we say, you've got your way, I've got my way, but the only way that matters is that we love each other and that we're here for each other. Shabbat Shalom.